Welcome you all. Today we are going to talk about elision and liaison. Elision and liaison are actually the topics in connected speech. This topic is from the subject of the contents English Code 203, Phonetics and English Phonology. We already have conducted 13 lecture in this our lecture series program, and this is our lecture 14. So without a further ado, let's talk about our today's topic. Here is the definition we are going to discuss, and the definition is the leaving out of a sound or sounds in speech, or there may be another way to express the omission of a vowel, consonant or syllable in pronunciation. For instance, and this definition actually is taken from the book Longman Dictionary of Language Teaching and Applied Linguistics. Here is an example of elision. In rapid speech in English, we sometimes say "spəʊz" without this a sound. We use "spəʊz," not "səઃpəʊz," right? The pronunciation of this word is "spəʊz," but we sometimes in connected speech or in rapid speech in English we say "spəʊz." Or here is another example. We sometimes in connected speech we say "ʻfæktri," but it may be individually pronounced as ʻfæktəri, but in rapid speech sometimes it might be pronounced as ʻfæktri. So this is the omission of this a sound or any vowel or consonant or syllable in pronunciation. Omission of a sound or leaving out of a sound, that is known as elision in simple. Here is more to explain elision. One might express this in more technical language by saying that in certain circumstances a phoneme may be realized as a zero or have zero realization or be deleted. Mean to say deletion of a phoneme. We sometimes miss a phoneme sound in a word in rapid speech. That is also one of the ways of elision in rapid English. Elision is typical of rapid casual speech. Producing elisions is something which foreign learners do not need to learn to do, but it is important for them to be aware that when native speakers of English talk to each other, quite a number of phonemes that the foreigners might expect to hear are not actually pronounced. तो स्टूडेंट्स यहाँ पे अगर हम देखें इस बुक के मुताबिक इंग्लिश फोनेटिक्स एंड फोनोलॉजी बाय पीटर रॉच, एलिशन जो है वो मोस्टली जो नेटिव स्पीकर्स होते हैं वो रैपिड इंग्लिश में बोल रहे होते हैं, और जो जैसे हम पाकिस्तानी या इंडियंस हैं, ये इनको जो है वो इस तरह कोई जो है वो ज़रूरत नहीं है सीखने की, मगर ये कि हमें अवेयर होना चाहिए कि जो नेटिव स्पीकर्स है वो इस तरह से प्रोनाउंस कर रहे होते हैं वर्ड्स को. सो वी मस्ट नो दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द वेज मोस्ट ऑफ द नेटिव स्पीकर्स दे यूज़ इन देयर मदर टंग. Here are so many our number of elisions we use, our native speakers they use in rapid English. Number one, loss of weak vowel after p, t and k. For example, in words like potato, tomato, country, perhaps, today, the vowel in the first syllable may disappear. The aspiration of the initial plosive takes up the whole of the middle portion of the syllable, resulting in these pronunciations where ha indicates aspiration in the phonetic transcription. So as we already have talked about that when we are using these sounds like potato, but as an aspiration sound we say potato. So pa is actually the aspirated sound of pa. So potato, when we say potato we miss out this a sound in potato, right? So this deletion or omission of the sound is called elision. Or here is another example, tomato, but we sometimes when we make the aspirated sound of t, of t. So tomato and tomato. So we are again missing another sound in this word. In the same way as canary, but we say canary. So this is again we are deleting a vowel sound in this word. So loss of a weak vowel after p, t and k sounds is one of the ways of elision. Here is another way of elision, and that is weak vowel plus na, la, ra becomes syllabic consonants, mean to say weak vowel and then using of these sounds as tonight, but sometimes in connected speech we say tonight. So we are missing this the sound of this o, okay, or police, but in connected speech we say police, right? So before you see weak vowel, we are using weak vowel this is the weak vowel. We are omitting this weak vowel in these both words, and we are focusing and giving a stress to this la and a na, and in this way ra sounds in the words. Here is another way, that is avoidance of complex consonant clusters. It has been claimed that no normal English speaker would ever pronounce all the consonants between the last two words of the following. यानी कि इस सेंटेंस के अंदर अगर हम देखें जॉर्ज द सिक्स्थ थ्रोन, so most of the English speakers they miss out last two words pronunciations exactly as they are, as George the sixth throne. This is not impossible to pronounce. Something like sixth throne or sixth run. So is a more likely pronunciation for last two words. Most likely, most of the speakers of English they pronounce like this, and though they don't exactly pronounce like George the sixth throne, right? So they may pronounce like this. So this is avoidance of complex consonant clusters. So there are so many consonant complex clusters are not been pronounced in rapid speech. In clusters of three plosives or two plosives plus a fricative, the middle plosive may disappear, so that the following pronunciations result. So here are actually the words like acts. So k and t are actually plosives, and then sa is a fricative sound. So sometimes when there are two plosives and one fricative, so sometimes this middle sound of t may be disappeared, like acts, but sometimes in rapid speech they are native speakers pronounce like x. It is looked back. It may be in rapid speech pronounced as look back. Scripts, but in rapid speech it may be pronounced as scripts. So this is how sometimes this elision is there in rapid speech. Here is another way of using elision: loss of final w in of before consonant. So sometimes in of pronunciation we are losing this w sound. How? As lots of them, but in rapid speech it may be pronounced as lots them. So if you analyze here, we are missing w sound. Waste of time, waste of money. So it may be pronounced as waste money, right? So sometimes this w may be deleted in rapid speech. A more common case is where the vowel of is lost, leaving either w in a voiced consonant, as all of mine, but all of mine. So sometimes this even a sound may be pronounced despite of a w, in case of the voiced context, or f in a voiceless context as best of three. It may be ɓæktri in voiceless context. So if there is a voiceless context of the words, it is difficult to know whether contractions of grammatical words should be regarded as examples of elision or not. So when we say contractions like it is, it's, I will, I'll, so these are the contractions. So contractions, it is difficult to say these are exactly the examples according to this book of Phonetics and English Phonology by Peter Roach. We could not exactly say whether these are the examples of elision. Here we are going to talk about liaison. Liaison, or we may say linking, a process in continuous speech which connects the final sound of one word or syllable to the initial sound of the next. Or in English words ending in a tense word vowel and a following word or syllable beginning with a vowel are usually linked with a glide. So we already have talked about what are the glide sounds in our previous lectures. Here we are going to have I'm going to explain this whole text into this example in simple words. So there are actually two words we pronounce as B, able, sounds as though there is a j between B and able sound. So when we connect B and able, but in rapid speech we may say biavel, biavel. So yes sound comes when we are connecting two words together. Or for example, there are two words blue, ink, sounds as though there is a w between the words blue and ink, right? So there may be blue ink, there may be this w sound between these two when we are connecting between these two words. So this is actually when we are connecting two words together, we are creating another sound that is called liaison. In our hypothetical mechanical speech, all words would be separate units placed next to each other in sequence. In real connected speech, however, we link words together in a number of ways. However, there are a number of ways of liaison. The most familiar case is the use of linking ra. The phoneme ra does not occur in syllable final position in the BBC accent, but when the spelling of a word suggests a final ra and a word beginning with a vowel follows, the casual pronunciation is to pronounce a with ra. So here are the examples. I'm going to explain this whole text if you could not understand here. In BBC English, mostly we are leaving this ra sound, and we don't say here, we say here. Or in BBC accent, we don't say for, we say fa. But when we are putting another word after here with a vowel sound like r, a sound, so we say here are, right? We are not leaving this ra sound here. Or even for eggs, we are not leaving out this ra sound when we begin a word beginning with a vowel after ra, like 4 eggs, 4 eggs, right? So this is one of the way or an example of liaison or linking. And this whole text is actually taken from the book English, Phonetics and Phonology by Peter Roach. Thank you very much. Thanks for attention. Hopefully this would have been helping for all of you.